धवल
हाँ सर.
स्क्रीन दिसते.
हो दिसते सर.
Okay. Next is aggregation versus generalization. So aggregation relates instances, whereas generalization relates classes. Aggregation related with objects. Generalization relates with classes. Two different objects are involved. One of them is a part of other. This is in case of aggregation. So aggregation is often called as a part of relationship, whereas generalization is called as a kind of relationship or is a relationship. Aggregation is sometimes called as and relationship, whereas generalization is called as or relationship. Question may be asked for 4 marks. Differentiate between aggregate and generalization. So these are the 4 points. Then here combination of aggregation and generalization. This is example in case of lamp. So aggregation is denoted by small diamond, whereas generalization is denoted by a small triangle. So lamp is there are different parts such as base, cover, switch, wiring. So base is a part of lamp, cover is a part of lamp, switch is a part of lamp, wiring is a part of lamp. And there are two types of lamps or kinds of lamps: fluorescent and incandescent. Fluorescent is a kind of lamp or is a type of lamp. Incandescent is a type of lamp. This is a generalization. There are two types of lamps. This is a generalization. Whereas base, cover, switch, wiring, this is aggregation. That is combination of these becomes as a lamp, and lamp have two types. Then again there is aggregation. Fluorescent have different parts, one, part 2, part 3 and so on. There are different parts. So all are combined together forms fluorescent lamp. Similarly, there are so many parts in case of incandescent lamp. This is combination of aggregation and generalization. The next, then next part is recursive aggregation. Aggregation can be fixed, variable or recursive. Aggregation can be fixed, variable or recursive. Variable means changeable or recursive or so a fixed aggregate has a fixed structure. The number and types of subparts are predefined. In case of lamp, there is wiring, then base. These are the fixed structure which are predefined in case of lamp. And then in recursive of variable aggregate, has a finite number of levels. There are finite number of levels, but number of parts may be changed. Example, company. There are finite number of departments, but there are number of parts, that is number of divisions can be changing. So recursive aggregation contains directly or indirectly, it is an instance of, or it is an object of same kind of aggregate. The number of potential levels is unlimited. For example, computer program. In case of program, it is aggregation of blocks, or blocks combines a program. So then there are generalization of blocks. There are two types of blocks: simple statement block and compound statement block. So compound statement block combine work multiple statements, that is in case of while loop, for loop, or do while loop. If this condition is true, then again go to the previous statement of block, then again go to the combined statement, compound statement, then again check the condition, again go to the block, and so on. This is a recursive aggregation, whereas this is a fixed aggregation, block to simple statement. So propagation of operations. Propagation means triggering, is an automatic application of an operation to a network of object. When the operation is on applied to some starting object, moving an aggregation moves its parts. The move operation propagates to the parts. A person owns multiple documents. Each document is composed of paragraphs that are turned with composed of characters. The copy operation propagates from document to paragraph, paragraph to character. The copying of paragraph copies all characters in it. The operation do not propagate a reverse direction. Suppose this is a propagation. A person have its own document. This document copied from paragraph. This paragraph copied from characters. So it goes only forward direction, not a reverse direction. It does not goes reverse direction. It goes only forward direction. Document becomes from paragraph, paragraph becomes from characters. It does not act as character becomes from paragraph, paragraph becomes from document. It does not act like this, but it acts like this. Document copies from paragraph, paragraph copies from character. This is propagation operation which goes only forward direction, not goes backward direction. So next concept is abstract classes. Abstract class is a class that has no direct instances, but whose descent classes have direct instances. An abstract class is a class that has no direct instances, but whose descendant classes have no direct instances. That is, descendant means subclasses have direct, but whose subclasses have direct instances, but its own superclass does not have direct objects. A concrete class is a class that is instanceable, but it can have a direct object. A concrete class may have abstract subclasses, but they must have concrete descendants. Only concrete classes may be leaf classes in the inheritance tree. This is the concept regarding abstract classes. Question may be asked for 4 marks. So write a short note on abstract classes and concrete classes. The figure shows the structure of abstract and concrete class. Here 1 plus indicates that one or more. So class is generalized from concrete or abstract. Class has a generalized has a type of or kind of concrete or abstract. Abstract class may act as a superclass and a class become as subclass. Okay, then a concrete class have kinds of non-leaf classes and leaf classes. Non-leaf class acts as superclass and class becomes as subclass. Then these are indirect instances, but direct instance we can generalize with concrete class. Concrete class has subclasses. Similarly, abstract class has subclasses. So abstract class organize features common to several classes. Abstract class organize features common to several classes. Abstract class are frequently used to define methods to be inherited by subclasses. An abstract class can define methods to be inherited by subclasses. An abstract operation defines the form of an operation for which each concrete subclass must provide its own implementation. So we have drawn the class structure here. Employee is a name of class. Earning is an attribute of that class. And pay, it is part of or part of that class. Generalized as subclasses as HRLY employee, then SLRD employee, HNRY employee. So each employee has earning attribute and pay as abstract. So this is abstract class and abstract operation. Pay is abstract operation. Then overriding operations. What is overriding? Concept you have studied in C++, overriding. So there are different reasons to use overriding for extension, for restrictions, for optimization, for convenience. That is overriding operations. So extension. In case of extension, a new operation is same as inherited except all adds some behavior, usually affecting new attributes of subclass. That is extension. A new operation is same as inherited except it adds some its own behavior, usually affecting new attributes of subclass. That is extension. Then restriction. New operation restricts the inherited. That is protected concept. Then optimization. The new method must have the same external protocol. The new method must have same external protocol and results as one old one, but its a internal representation and algorithm may differ completely. The new method has same external protocol, that is prototype. If you have used a void then function name in superclass, same function is used with prototype void then function name. So result is same old as one, but internal operation and algorithm representation differ completely. That is optimization. Then convenience. The new class is made a subclass of existing class. New class is made a subclass of existing class and overrides the methods that are inconvenient. Then multiple inheritance. We have studied the concept inheritance in C++. Acquiring properties from one class to another class is known as inheritance. There are five types: single inheritance or simple inheritance, then multi-level inheritance, then multiple inheritance, then hierarchical inheritance, and combination of all these four, that is mixed inheritance or hybrid inheritance. Then out of them for your study is multiple inheritance. It have one or more superclass. It permits to have more than one superclass and inherit features from all parents. So a class with more than one superclass, a class with more than one superclass is called as joint class. A feature from the ancestor, that is previous or superclass, found along more than one path is inherited only once. A feature from ancestor class found along more than one path is inherited only once. Conflicts among the parallel definition or ambiguities among the parallel definition create ambiguities that must be resolved in implementations. Suppose here example is a vehicle is given. Vehicle, there are two types of vehicle: land vehicle and water vehicle. Okay, again land vehicle are two types: car, amphibious vehicle. Then water vehicle, again two types: amphibious vehicle and boat. Here amphibious vehicle is a combination of two different types of classes, that is a land vehicle as well as water vehicle, and this amphibious vehicle is known as a joint class and it is done from overlapping classes. Then what are the notations for uh, different parts of object oriented? A hello triangle indicate disjoint subclasses. A hello triangle disjoints subclasses, whereas solid triangle indicates overlapping classes. A hollow triangle disjoints, this is hollow triangle, disjoints subclasses, and solid triangle indicate, this is solid triangle, indicates overlapping classes. This solid triangle indicates overlapping classes, and this hollow classes triangle indicates overlapping classes. Then next concept is metadata. Metadata is a data that describes other data. That is, in short, data for data. That is metadata. So definition of class is metadata. Models are metadata since they describes the things being modeled again. Then RDBMS uses metadata. These are the examples of metadata. So what is a pattern and metadata? A class describes a set of instances of given form. A class describes a set of objects of a given form. Instantiation, that is objects, relates a class to its instantaneous. Instantane- instantiation relates a class to its instances. The dotted arrow connect two instances to the class. The dotted arrow indicates the instance relation between object and class. It is also useful for documenting examples and test cases. Suppose this dotted arrow indicates the relation between objects and class. Here class is a person and its two objects. This is person first and this is person second, but related with its attribute. In case of class person, attribute is name, age and weight. It's have two objects, person first in case of first, person name ABC, age 40, weight 40. These are attributes in case of person first. Similarly, in case of person second, name XYZ, age 29, weight 70. These are the different notations. So these dotted arrow indicates that the relation between objects and class. Then class descriptors. Classes are meta objects, not a real world objects. Classes are meta objects, not a real world objects. Class descriptors have features. Class descriptors have features and they have their own classes which are called meta classes. Class descriptors have features and they have their own classes called as meta classes. A class attribute describes a value common to an entire class of objects. A class attribute describes a value common to an entire class of objects rather than data particular to each instance. Rather than data to particular each instance. Class attributes are useful for storing default information, for creating new objects, or summary information about objects of the class. Class attributes are useful for storing default information, for creating new objects, or summary information about objects of the class. A class operation is an operation on the class itself. A class operation is an operation on the class itself. The most common is to create a new object. The most common operation is to create new object. Operations on class structure are class operations. Operations on class structure are class operations. See here class descriptors. Here we have studied the class. First part indicates the class, second part indicates the operators attributes, and third part indicates the functions or operations. So class window, it have attributes such as a size, rectangle, visibility, that is boolean, visible or not, that is true or false. Then default size is rectangle. Then it have operations like display, new window, hide priority window. These are operations regarding the window. Using these, we can create new objects, or we can store the attributes regarding or basic information related with objects such as its attributes. So next part is a candidate key. Candidate key is a minimum set of attributes that uniquely identifies an object or a link. It is minimum set of attributes or minimal set of attributes that are uniquely identifies an object or a link. A class may have one or more candidate keys. A class may have one or more candidate keys which may have different combinations and number of attributes, which may have different combinations and attributes. Each candidate key constrains the instance of class, and it is denoted by the notation curly brackets. Candidate key is denoted by curly brackets. Then constraints. These are functional relation between entities and entities of an object model. This is functional relation between entities of an object model. Entity includes, what is the entity? Entity includes objects, classes, attributes, links and association. Entity includes objects, class, attributes, links and association. What is the entity? Entity is a thing. That is, suppose in case of person, it have its name, that is its attribute. It is linked with other person, associated with other persons, that is link and association. It have its friend, that is object. That is entity which includes objects, classes, attributes, links and associations. A constraint restrict the values that entities can assume. The constraint restrict the values that entity can assume. Simple constraints may be placed in object model and complex may be in functional model. Simple constraint may be placed in object model, whereas complex constraint may be placed in functional model. See the figures of constraints on object. So in left side figure there is employee and salary. The class is employee. So here employee is a name of class and salary its attribute. Then there is constraint or relationship attribute with the class. This solid circle indicates that 0 or 1, whereas so single or uh, empty circle indicates one or more. So salary is less than boss dot salary. Salary is less than boss dot salary indicates that there are number of employees. Similarly, in right side there is a figure. There is a class diagram in case of window. Window is name of class and its attributes are length and width. So 0.8 is less than equal to length, or width is less than equal to 1.5. These are attributes regarding the window. This shows in case of single window, but here left side figure shows number of employees. With example, they have given a boss. So in every department there is one HOD and number of faculties. In every school there is one principal. In every college there is one principal and number of faculties. So it shows one to many relationship. One to many relationship. So in case of salary is less than equal to boss dot salary. Here shows one to many relationship, but here shows only a relationship in case of single window. This constraints on objects. Then what are general constraints? It must be expressed with natural language or equations. It must be expressed with natural language or equations. The draw a dotted line between two class. The dotted line between two class involve a constraint and specify details among the details with the comments in the braces. Here two classes. Example, here person is one class and committee is other class. So here solid circles indicates that 1, 0 or 1, that is one person, and committee is 1. So person is a member of committee. Person is a member of committee. Similarly, person is chairperson of committee. Person is chairperson of committee, and the dotted relationship between these two classes, that is this dotted line, indicates that the constraints and specify details with comment, that is chairperson is a subset of member. Chairperson is a subset of member, or member is a subset of committee. Chairperson is a subset of committee, member is subset of committee, or chairperson is subset of members. This is a general constraint. Then derived objects, links and attributes. The notation for derived entity is slash. Suppose in case of birth date or age, suppose I want to calculate what is my age. What is age? What is my age on today? So age is equal to current date minus birth date. Age is equal to current date minus birth date. So in case of person, while filling some form, they ask what is birth date or a recent age. So person, class person have attribute birth date or age on that date. So age on that current date or birth date. So if I want to calculate current date, then age, today's age minus birth date. Suppose I want to calculate age, then current date minus birth date. Okay, this is a derived objects, links and attributes. So here your second chapter is completed.